Use the gavel.
Oh, this may be the first time I've ever used the gavel. I broke my own computer.
You need practice.
Okay, that's right. Next time I'll practice. Welcome. So glad to have you here. So glad to have all this friendly chatter here as we're getting ready to start the meeting. But I do need to call it to order because it is 7 o'clock, and so I'm going to do so. And once again, we're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by our very own John Cunningham.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be asking, why is John Cunningham doing the pledge every single time we have the meeting? It's because John will be leaving us. His next meeting will be his last meeting because he's going to be retiring. So we'll miss you greatly, and we will have an appropriate celebration of John in the next meeting. So not to be missed. And we now move to our 702 item, which is open forum. And do you want to get us started, Kristen?
Sure. I actually have a number of things both on the agenda and things that have come up since we posted the agenda. So first off, this year's Hope Blooms Here event will occur on Tuesday, April 28th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. in the courtyard here outside of Town Hall in the old fire station. You'll hear shortly from Nicole Laviolette, the co-chair of the Community Behavioral and Mental Health Committee, asking for the Select Board to proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month, and that event kicks off Mental Health Awareness Month. We'd like to congratulate the Westford Water Department for receiving, for the second year, a Public Water System Award from the Mass DEP Drinking Water Program and receiving one of the highest scores in the Community System category, and they will be receiving their official award on May 5th. We want to invite residents to attend several more Robinson Feasibility Study community forums that will continue on Monday, May 4th at 7 p.m. and Monday, May 18th at 7 p.m., both at the Robinson School, and a wrap-up forum that will be held at the Millennium Building on Thursday, June 11th at 7 p.m. There was a forum last week, in person only, and I think it was well attended by over 40 people. I want to just make residents aware that the Boston Road Detour will begin next week. Town Engineer Paul Starrett is here in case there's any particular questions, but it will be the same detour as it was last year, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. The Westford Economic Development Committee and the Westford Business Association are hosting the first ever Taste of Westford on Thursday, May 21st at the Orchard. So if you are a food vendor and want to have a table there, please feel free to reach out to that group. Also, there's tickets on sale through WestfordCAT and other organizations for residents and other visitors who'd like to attend. I'd like to congratulate our Westford Academy student, Abigail Hennessy, who has been named the Girls Indoor Track Runner of the Year. So congratulations to Abigail if she's out there. I want to make note that today we had our first ever community event with our faith-based community, where our health and human services and our public safety teams presented to those groups as we, as select board and town management, want to do a better job at outreaching to our community. So we're giving them an overview of what our groups do and what our departments do, and we hope to scale that to other events in the future to reach out to our community members. And then finally, I would like to say that we are celebrating National Telecommunicators Week in public safety this week. So if you see a dispatcher, please tell them thank you. Their job is extremely important, and we really appreciate their work this week. So that is all I have.
We should, so election season is upon us, so those of you who are interested and engaged, please join the League of Women Voters tomorrow night for the Candidates Forum. And Chris, do you remember the time and location?
I believe it's 7 at Millennium, behind the Apple School.
Okay, 7 at Millennium, so please join to see who's has the courage to run here in Westford and serve you. Also, I mentioned that our next meeting is going to be a tri-board meeting. So what's a tri-board meeting? These are meetings that we have with our finance committee and our school committee to really address things that affect the whole town. Many of those relate to budget issues. We'll be having that meeting next time, I think, at Millennium.
We will. Yes.
So it'll be a little bit more space, and we'll be talking about a couple things. We're going to be talking about, we're going to have an executive session to talk about some pending negotiations that will affect forward-looking budgets. But then we'll have a public session to kind of lay out the road Now that we're through town meeting, we'll talk a little bit about what the budget looks like over the next 12 months and some of the challenges we expect to face. We're also going to talk about a really exciting engagement effort that the school committee and the DI committee and the select board are embarking upon. This is a combination of listening tour, but also trying to build ways to communicate with groups in town that we don't hear from enough. And so we're looking for better ways to engage, and thank you, Kristen, for mentioning the faith-based community. That's one of the groups that we'd like to be better engaged with, so we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about a tax study. It's come up in a couple different forums that the residential tax burden in aggregate is actually growing while the commercial is remaining flat. There are reasons for that, but we want to investigate those reasons and also look at what some of our peer communities are doing to offer tax relief to people who are facing difficult circumstances. So we want to be aware of those things and have a chance to consider those as well. And there's one other important thing that we're going to talk about.
Town meeting timing.
Town meeting timing. So thank you, Kristen. So the topic's been raised. Will we get better engagement if we consider changing the timing during the year and also considering whether we have a weeknight meeting versus a Saturday meeting? We do ask these questions every so often. We're going to ask them again and make sure that we've got the right way to engage with the most people. And we're looking at engagement not just in the meeting itself, although that's critical. We're also looking at is there a way to get better engagement in the whole budget process that we have through the course of the winter and spring. So asking the question, are there better ways to connect and make sure that we're getting all the input that we need? So that's going on the tri-board meeting. That's next select board meeting slot at Millennium. Now let me ask my colleagues if they have anything tonight.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Is that-
Anything else? Okay. Members of the public. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Nancy Rosinski. I just want to find out at your 7:25 agenda item.
Yep.
Should anyone from the public feel like speaking, will we be allowed to?
7:25.
Your meeting with
Conservation
Council.
Commission.
Yeah, so I think we would admit comments from the public if you feel like they're better placed then, or if there are questions that you have that you think you might
Yeah,
want.
that's a better time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. No, thank you for bringing that up. So we will recognize questions as part of the 7:25. Any other items for? Please. So welcome to the mic. We're thrilled to have you here. If you could just give your names and your address.
I'm Shvika Sanjeev.
I'm Gabriella Kenny.
I'm Anaya Jindal.
Great. Welcome.
Good evening. First of all, we're here because we would like to host a bake sale to support the Westford Food Pantry for a civic action project that we're doing in school because we're in grade 8. And we were wondering if we could use the...
We were wondering if we could use the town commons to host that, and we promised to clean up and make it.
We would respect it and leave it
Yeah.
how we found it.
This seems like something we absolutely have to support. But Kristen, what's the right procedure for them to?
So they are actually on the agenda under consent, but I did speak with their teacher and they did want an opportunity to at least say something. So we
Okay.
felt that open forum would be the appropriate time that they could approach the board.
That'd be great. Do you want to tell us anything more about what the event is and?
So we're hosting it from 10 to 2, and we're baking everything, and then we're going to donate all the proceeds to the Westford Food Pantry, and we're also having a little donation jar if people don't want to buy any baked goods, then they can also just donate some money.
Oh, that's great. And so you're going to be on the common and maybe encourage people to park either
Yeah.
there on Lincoln Drive or.
My
if they're
mom
best
will be the parent, making sure everything's going smoothly and stuff.
Okay, super. Well, good. Thank you to all three of you and your mom
Thank
for supporting this. Any questions from the board about this? Yeah, Chris.
Do you have a rain date in mind in case it's inclement weather on that day? Is it rain or shine, or are you gonna?
Well, if it was gonna rain, we're gonna get a tarp from one of our team members, but rain or shine, we're gonna
Okay.
go.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. Well, yeah, Sean.
Is it cash only, or are you guys accepting something other than that?
No, I think it's cash only.
Cash only, good to
unfortunately.
know. Okay, thank you.
All right. So make sure you got plenty of cash. And can you remind us of the date again?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. Okay. Well, good. Thank you so much for doing that, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Great. welcome, yeah, if you could just share your name and your address, that would be great. Welcome.
Hi, our names are Colin Ferguson and Isai
Carrasquillo.
from Blanchard Middle School. We're currently presenting as part of the Civic Action Project, and the topic that we've chosen is declining biodiversity. We are also sending a letter to the select board, but we thought to present here too for some additional information. I live at 3 Dutchman Way.
I live at 1 Pleasant Westford Street.
Biodiversity is essentially the variety of species on Earth. This decline is a massive problem and always has been in Massachusetts, but recently it's been ramping up more than ever. There are many endangered species impacted by declining biodiversity, many dying due to it. Biodiversity also impacts agriculture, causing thousands of acres of farmland lost per year, not necessarily in Westford, but it still affects it. And loss of many important fish species that Massachusetts and Westford rely on. This loss of biodiversity also negatively affects human health and can lead to uptick in diseases.
Westford has already done many helpful things to stop this or help it slow down, but we could do more things like funding nonprofit organizations, creating habitat maintenance and restoration projects, and we could also inform the general public. Doing these all would help Westford very much and would also help the endangered native and migratory species we have around Westford and Massachusetts. One thing we could do specifically would be provide funding for nonprofit organizations, allowing them to better support endangered species.
Another beneficial idea would be to create habitat restoration projects, which could involve members of the Westford community. These would raise awareness and assist in the conservation of biodiversity.
Sending informational pamphlets to town residents would increase awareness for threats like invasive species and would be relatively easy to implement. And yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you for raising awareness of this really important issue. Do you have any requests from us tonight, or I'll mention the Conservation Commission is going to come up here shortly, so if you want to share some of your ideas with them, they'll come up on the agenda shortly.
Might do that.
Okay. Yeah, anything else that you want us to be thinking about? So we look forward to receiving your letter, and thank you for raising awareness of the topic. Anything else you'd like us to be thinking about?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks for being part of civic life. Well, this is a special night.
Yeah.
Any other members of the public? Elizabeth.
Good evening, Elizabeth Almeida, 41 West Street. Always hard to follow the young people at the mic. I had a couple things to say, but before I do that, I want to say thank you, John, for your service to the town on Select Board and before that Conservation Commission and so many other committees, so thank you. And to echo what Kristen said about the Robinson School Building Project, the meeting I went to last week was excellent. I would encourage everyone to attend as many of those meetings as possible. I thought the consultants did a great job of engaging with the public and really listening to us about what our priorities are for the community. The reason I wanted to get up and speak tonight was about East Boston camps. I sent the select board and community members an email about my concerns. I just have 3 questions, and I'm not assuming there will be an answer during open forum. Maybe some of my questions will be answered in the conversation with the Conservation Commission, or it may need to be at a future meeting, and I understand that. But first, the concern is what are we doing to mitigate the behavior that's happening at East Boston camps that's creating the problems, making it undesirable for our residents to enjoy that beautiful asset. Second, how is the vandalism being addressed? Is that being repaired immediately? Will it be repaired before the camp starts? And then my third question, which I think is a much bigger question, but I would like to put forward, is what do we see 5 or 10 years from now at East Boston camps? And I would really like to be a part of that conversation, and I know we have some immediate issues, but I really think we need to ask that question as a community, because that may answer what we do about some of these immediate concerns. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you for raising the issue. So I know there's both short-term issues and there's a longer-term question about where we go. I guess, Kristen, what's the best way to, are we planning to bring that up at a future meeting so we can kind of fill that out a little bit for the public?
Yes, so tonight, the select board under contracts will be approving a contract for a new caretaker. So some of the issues related to vandalism and cleanup of the property will be addressed in short order related to that contract. We plan to have a kickoff meeting with that contractor. I know an initial meeting occurred, but a very serious conversation with them about the expectations and who to contact and whatnot. we also anticipate as a board to bring this up in a future meeting, likely in May, to talk about what the long-term goal is. We know that the conservation restriction is with one organization that may be getting transferred to another organization. So this is really a transformative time in this property that we feel that we will bring all hands on deck related to town staff, Conservation Commission, Select Board, Parks and Recreation, and the like, and other community members for this effort.
Great, thank you. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask now, but is that contract for maintenance? I saw the name of the company, but I couldn't find more information on it. Is that Jeff Mount?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Great, thanks, Elizabeth. Any other comments here?
I'm sorry to come up again, but
Yeah, no problem.
no offense, but I don't want to stay to the until contract section, so I'm going to give you my comment on that.
No problem.
So I know nothing about the company, but, you know, I'm here tonight because I'm concerned about East Boston camps and what we're seeing is all the issues there, which we'll get into later. But as far as the contractor go, what I think is very, very important, the contractor that we hire is to have someone that has a large presence on the property. Because right now, there is no one with authority that you see on that property. And so it's a free-for-all, as I put in the email, if any of you guys had a chance to read it. You know, you can go there, you can do anything you want, because there's no one there stopping you. And back in the, you know, way back, and then you frequently see the caretaker in there. And that helps to mitigate issues, and when they see something, they can be addressed. But we haven't had that for years, and I think that's leading to some of the big problems we have right now. So I hope that when you talk about that, if this person that you're thinking of awarding the contract to doesn't fit that bill, that maybe you think about that again and say maybe he is not the right person for the job if they don't have a continued and frequent presence on that property, because that really, really is key for that role.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the comment. Anybody online, Kristen?
I don't see any hands
Comments?
raised online, no.
Okay. Thank you for all of that. With that, we'll go to our 7:05 item and welcome Nicole Laviolette to explain a little bit about the request to proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, thank you for having me. In your packet is the memo and proposed proclamation for May's Mental Health Awareness Month. For the past few years, this has been a presence in the events that we've held, something that we've shared through the town manager newsletter, something we posted on the Community Behavioral and Mental Health's website to share with residents as we continue to support breaking down the stigma associated with mental illness. May has various events that will be posted shortly that we're going to be doing to promote the mental health awareness in Westford, one being what Kristen shared, which is our Hope Blooms Here event. It is April 28th, not in May, but we want to make sure that the tulips are alive and blooming, which may not occur the first week in May. So that is the event that if this proclamation is approved, we will be sharing that at that event. If it's okay to share, just because I'm here right now, the April 28th Hope Blooms Here event has completely evolved and blossomed. So this will be the second year we've had it. The day school choir will actually be performing at the beginning of the event. They have a desire to share about mental health, and their choir director reached out, so we will be having them perform. We have organizations and different agencies that will be in the old fire station to share information and resources and different activities for residents. Kimball Farm has donated ice cream, and we'll have the story walk that was previously approved on the town common, which promotes mental health as well.
Great, thank you. Can you just remind us again of the date, time of the event?
Sure, it's Tuesday, April 28th, 5:30 to 7, outside in the courtyard. We'll start, and then the old fire station bays will be open, and that's where we'll be having the different organizations and agencies that will have different information. And then across on the common, we'll have the story walk.
Oh, that's great. Because people can walk right from that to the tri-board meeting I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
I know they're going to want to do that. Any questions from the board for Nicole or comments?
This is
I
awesome.
attended this event last year. It was wonderful. Glad it's happening again.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for this and all you do. So we need a motion, I presume,
Yes.
to proclaim, so I'll entertain a motion to proclaim May as Mental Health Awareness Month. as described on the documents that were signed.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
710 item, we'll now move to the consent agenda. I will go ahead and read through these and then entertain a motion to approve. First up is a town common request. The event is a bake sale to support the Westford Food Pantry. We just heard about that from the Blanchard Middle School. 8 Blue Civic Action Project students, Ria Bargava, Naya Jindal, Shatikwa Ben Jamil, Devita Hasija, Leah Greenwood, Gabriella Kinney, Iman Ban Jamil. And the teacher, most importantly, the teacher is Kristen Wagner for that group. That's May 3rd, as we heard earlier, from 10 to 2. We have a banner request from the Westford Academy graduation celebration. The applicant is the Westford Education Foundation. Kelly Guthrie, the date is May 29 through June 8, 2026. Location is First Parish Church. We also have an event, youth football and cheer programs registration. There's another banner request. Applicant is Carrie Tonks. The date is May 12 through 19, 2026. Location is J.B. Fletcher Library. And then we have several special events. One is a road bike race for cystic fibrosis, CF Cycle for Life. The applicant is Sage McCord Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. The date is October 3rd, 2026. Location is the route as attached. That's in our packet. Road bike race, Ride to Defeat ALS. The applicant is Anna Pugh, ALS Association. The date is September 19th, 2026. The location is Powers Road, Route 110, and Route 225. Any questions about any of these events? No. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, those are approved unanimously. We are now at our 715 item, which is to request approval of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 15, transfer of wine and malt beverage license from Comet Marketing Incorporated, doing business as Blue Market, to Navgurda M. Ma Corp., DBA Blue Market, located at 64 Brookside Road, and I'll ask if the application is in order, Kristen.
The application is in order. The town clerk has a memo in your packet, and I just promoted Matt Porter, who I believe is on behalf of the applicants.
Matt, thank you for being here tonight. If you've got anything to share, please do so.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Board. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for Nagruva Mas Corp. Before you is a transfer of license application related to the sale of Blue Market at 64 Brookside Road. Our group, Navruda Mas Corp, is going to be taking over. Along with me on the hearing this evening is Haresh Patel. Mr. Patel is the 100% shareholder of the corporation. He's also the president, treasurer, secretary, director. So he'll be the sole owner. Also along with us on the hearing this evening is Hitendra Kumar Misty. Mr. Misty will be the proposed license manager, meaning that he'll be the individual there 40, if not hours or more per week. But very straightforward transfer. This is a long-standing business being taken over by a very experienced ownership group. Mr. Misty, who's managing the location, has been in the retail industry since 2019, has had experience with one of his stores that sold beer and wine. No violations whatsoever. Same with Mr. Patel, owns a couple other liquor licenses in the state of Massachusetts, which have all been run, tremendously responsibly. No violations there either. Both the individuals are alcohol tip certified. They'll have a scanning machine in place at the establishment. So essentially just a fairly straightforward transfer of the existing beer and wine license. No changes to the hours, no changes to the structure of the business, anything along those lines. Their lease is in place. The application should be in order. But with that, I can certainly answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you for that excellent summary. Any questions from the board? No. Any questions from the public, either here or online, Kristen?
I don't see any online.
Okay, there being none, I will entertain a motion to approve the Mass General Law transfer of wine and malt beverage license as described in our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Next up is our 718 item to review and vote to sign the order of taking for the Reed Brook Culvert Project. We're joined by our eminent town engineer, Paul Sterrett. Paul, can you just describe for the members of the public what this is?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I must say, usually I'm intimidated by the dais here, but looking at the audience tonight, this is a who's who of Westford here. So that's a little.
Do you want to you can take a picture with that?
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm extra on my toes here tonight. So So Paul Starrett, Town Engineer. This is born out of the enterprise fund that we established at town meeting a few years ago for stormwater. That gave us a funding source and a revenue stream to start replacing our culverts, which will need that work. And so this is one of those culverts. The specific one is just outside the day school, where I spent 13 years teaching the stormwater matters class to all the young people at the day school. So I'm glad we're stepping up to take care of this culvert. So of all the important things we do here in Westford, we take nothing more seriously in the engineering department than people's property rights. And this is a case where we need to acquire some easements from some individuals. We've met with those two residents. We've acquired, as you can see in your packets, the required waivers from them. And so this opens up the path for you without any contention with the abutters to advance the order of taking, which will allow us to start the project. We'll be ready for a kickoff meeting on Thursday, in fact, and get this going.
Great, thank you, Paul. Any questions for Paul about this order of taking? Sean?
Yeah, real quick, Paul, is this one of the ones that it's a flat rate for the taking?
So we, under advice of town council, in consideration for those residents, in this case, one of them did elect to retain counsel to review very important documents, involving your land and your property, in this case, a commercial property, so even more on the table. And so we were giving $500, offering $500, but cost of living, so we're up to $750 now. Interestingly, those were waived, so we're in good shape for that.
Okay, thank you.
Great, and thank you for the people involved, being willing to waive the fee. It's very civically minded. Okay, so any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public for Paul about this order of taking?
I just have a brief
Yeah,
comment.
go ahead, Chris.
I've probably said this before, but I just want the members of the public to understand how lucky we are in Westford to have a Paul Starrett at our engineering helm because of the way that he deals with the public. I don't think every municipality out there, has that interaction. I mean, Paul has gone time and time again, door to door, interacting with folks, keeping an open door policy, welcoming questions so that when we come through with these types of projects, residents are well informed, they feel comfortable with what's going on, and as a result, you see what happens tonight, where we have a very smooth process, which it takes a lot of your time and effort to do, sir, and I continue to applaud you for making that effort, so thank you.
It does. Thank you for those kind words. My colleagues all laugh at me because they know what I do, but I've learned a long time ago, and I'm quoting someone, but when you get people involved early, they're your partners. You get them involved later, they're your judge. And so we've had a great experience here in Westford, and I'm most happy to report that it's been wicked fun.
All right. And not to take a sad turn here, but Paul, how much longer do we have to be celebrating you in this context?
So, my current plan is 81 calendar days, but we're
Too short.
81 opportunities.
I say that only because I can't see the sun from here, but I think it's 81 calendar days.
Okay, well, 81 days to show your appreciation for Paul's contribution. I think we've heard from the board and the public, so we will then, I'll entertain a motion to approve the order of taking for the Reed Brook Culvert project and also the document that's being circulated to sign.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great.
Thank you very much.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, next up, we are going to hear, next up is 720 items. Request to execute the partial release of mortgage for Unit 6 and 7 of the Drew Farmhouse at 70 Boston Road to be conveyed to Habitat for Humanity. And I think we have Brian here. Welcome, Brian.
Hello.
And Ellen, if Ellen wants to join. So, Brian, do you want to just quickly explain for members of the public what we're being asked to approve tonight?
Yes. So the town granted the Drew Farmhouse, Inc. a mortgage in 2024 for the construction of 5 workforce affordable housing units. That's units 1 through 5, which are complete. Units 6 and 7 are the units that are being conveyed to Habitat for Humanity. And if we look at the legal description, in the town mortgage, it's encompassing everything on that parcel of land. So we need to release the Habitat units in order for those units to be sold to the individuals buying them eventually.
So this is sort of more continued progress on a very successful project. This is sort of an administrative thing that we have to do contractually to make sure this progresses.
Yes.
The way we all want it to. Okay. Any questions from the board about this mortgage release? I know we've had a couple meetings where we've talked about the various pieces of this, so this is not new to us. Yeah,
Real quick, I'll just say that I had the pleasure of being at the property, and it looks fantastic, and it's really exciting to see that property renovated, and it seems to be in very competent hands, and it's really exciting to see that come to fruition.
Yeah, it's a big community goal of ours to be welcoming affordable housing and also the Habitat folks, so it's amazing. So, I'm sorry, anything else from the board on this topic? Okay, anything from the public? Okay, there being none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the execution of the partial release of the mortgage for Unit 6 and 7 as described in our agenda.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
All right.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Brian, for being here tonight. Next up, we are going to hear an update from the Conservation Commission. That's our 725 item, and thank you, Margaret, for being here. While we're getting organized for this, there's sort of an arc of inviting committees to come and share the excellent work they're doing with the Select Board. So we've been fortunate to have many committees come and present. We look forward to having many more come and present to us. So welcome, Margaret.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Select Board. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you. What I'd like to open with is a little bit of a look back at 2025. We see a steady stream of applications for people to do work on their properties. In terms of replacing a failed septic, they want to add an ADU. We've also seen two very large development projects come in recently, 37 Powers Road, and now the redevelopment of the Westford Regency. I would really like to recognize the work that the conservation staff does in terms of when a resident has any kind of question, they show up, they call, and staff is there to walk them through the process. Staff is also there whenever we get a filing, they look through it, they make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed so that it moves smoothly through the process. And I really want to recognize the people that don't often get a lot of recognition. So that's the beginning of my comments. The commission, besides the wetlands protection and the local wetlands bylaw, we're responsible for protecting open space and natural resources and watersheds in Westford. That's what we do, that's what our passion is. And we've always been very proud of the properties that come under our care and custody. Stony Brook Conservation Area represents a challenge. The activities that continue to happen there are troublesome. Matt and I have both met with responding officers when they go to the site. The officers have said, these are the types of things we need. Posting do not enter signs, things like that will allow them to better enforce the town's rules and the laws of the Commonwealth. So those actions are being taken. We're getting signs posted. Those canoes and boats that seem to be a very attractive nuisance, they do not belong to the camp operators. There's a lot of them that don't even belong to the Recreation Commission. So we've taken steps for DPW to remove all of those from the site and store them till the Conservation Commission declares them a surplus, and then the town can dispose of them. I think one of the things we need to do is things that are there that people may have contributed in the past. They're an attractive nuisance. We need, in terms of setting the town up to be able to better enforce the laws, we also need to get rid of or to dispose of those things that are an attraction for people who maybe just want to get out there and do whatever they want to do on the site. Jim Gazzo and I have recently been involved in the detailed discussions on the extension of the lease with the camp operator, and we think that is very important because that lease is a source of funding to cover the facilities management services contract that you have coming up. I would like to clarify that we put an invitation out to bid, and we only got one bid in response. So in some respects, the town's hands are tied in terms of who we can hire. So we'll be happy to get that person on board. I believe Matt has already met with them, and there'll be formal meetings going forward. But one of the things the commission wants to do is have its own separate meeting, because it's very hard to get these discussions meaningfully happening among us while we've got all of our other business. So one of the things I'm proposing to the commission is that we use the 5th Wednesday in April to have a meeting where the commission can really talk through our issues, think about the direction we want, think about how we separate out the protection of the natural resources and the operation of the camp. Because to be honest, running camp properties and the buildings that go with them has never been part of what the commission has a skill set to handle. And so there's some conversations we need to have. I think that's the end of my comments.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I know we have some questions from the public, which we'll get to, but why don't we start to see if there are questions from the board? For Margaret? Yeah, go.
Well, I miss being on the commission with you, first of all. And I haven't had a chance to follow up on the Edwards Woods, which I brought up 4.5 years ago. I just wanted to know a little bit of background maybe for everybody and what's going on there.
So one of the first things that we need to do is the bounds of that property are not surveyed. So one of the things we need to do is get a survey out there so that the bounds are marked, so that first of all we can tell where people's property lines are. The other thing is we want to install some cameras to start recording who's coming in and using the property for dumping. If they're on a motorbike, that's one thing. But for example, people who have e-bikes, that doesn't fall under the prohibited vehicles. So a lot of that is also thinking about how we may need to update our regulations to keep up with changing technology.
I just have a comment.
Yep.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for what you do. I have a special appreciation for the work that you put in, the hard work, and how you protect the resources of this town. And I'm going to thank you on behalf of the board for all that you've done and what you continue to do.
Thank you, John.
Other questions? Sean?
Yeah, thanks for being here, Margaret, and I appreciate the what you've outlined so far. I guess my question is what's the current structure for who oversees Stony Brook, the conservation land? Is it a different company?
So there's a facilities management services who's contracted to, during the season from, I think it's April through October, that there's a contract for them to be on site at times and to do light carpentry if they identify something that needs to be addressed that's outside their skill set, or it's something like plumbing where you need to have a license. Then they work with the town to get the appropriate contractor to come in and deal with that. The other thing that's being negotiated as part of this contract is kind of like an add-on. In the winter, when the camps are all closed down, is to have somebody who comes up once a week or once every other week and just does a walk around that says, is there anything here we need to take a look at, and provide a report back to the commission of that they've been on the site, what they checked, and anything they found that needs to be attended, because I think that will help us stay ahead of some of our issues.
Okay.
I think, Sean,
Quick
if I
follow-up.
may,
Yeah.
so the Conservation Commission has the care and custody of the property.
Right.
There's also a conservation restriction on the property held by Westford Land Foundation, thank you, Westford Land Preservation Foundation. So there are several layers. I don't know if that got to your question as well.
Yeah. I guess my question is, a follow-up, Tom?
Yeah.
Which is, has that agreement that you've just discussed, Margaret, has that changed at all over the last few years, or?
The invitation to bid, Well, the invitation,
Just kind of the terms and what they were doing at the property. Has that changed at all over the past?
when we went out,
Yeah.
yeah, so we just sent it, we put out an invitation for bids this winter. I think it went out in March. And one of the things we did was we did review the scope of work. But it's normally, it's the scope of activities in the peak 6 months when the camps are open, when we have rentals, and that's when a lot of the activity needs to happen. But one of the things that we've looked at as an add-on is how do we have somebody whose job it is or who's contracted to go up there in the off-season periodically, just walk around, take a look at things, and give us a report back.
Okay.
Okay.
And is that, so that's occurring now, just not so much during the off-season, is that correct?
Correct. During the off-season, if there was a storm over the weekend, town staff goes up and checks it out. If there's heavy snow, we'll have to leave the gate unlocked so that the highway department can come in and plow up in case there needs to be fire response to the site or whatever. So it's kind of covering it as best town staff can handle it. And this winter was a tough one with all the snow.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chris.
Margaret, thanks so much for being here this evening. I'll echo my colleagues' comments. Super appreciative of all that you and your commission does. It's obviously a ton of work. With regards to the caretaker and the agreement, can you give us an idea of how many hours per week during that peak period that they will be actually at the property? And I think you heard one of the comments during open forum, the need for a presence. Will they be expected to sort of act in that regard if they see something going wrong, like somebody misbehaving? Are they going to take any action? Are they authorized to do so?
In terms of being authorized, thinking off the top of my head, I would want them to call Westford Police Department if they notice, criminal activity. If they see somebody whose dog is not on a leash, I don't know whether I want them going up and informing that person. There's stuff, we really want to focus their work on caring for the buildings. And when the camps are rented during the week, when we've seen problematic activity, it's on the weekend when there's probably not a renter. And normally the caretaker is focused on being available during the week when camps are in active use in case one of the operators raises a concern. Some of this is no, I don't have that level of detail in terms of, do we have them come up, check in each day on the weekend? I'm not. I looked at the
generally they'll be there 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, not necessarily on the weekends.
No, it's not 9 to 5. It's some of it is more they set it up, they make sure everything's ready at the beginning of the week when the camp operators are showing up. And then after that, it's basically more of an on-call because they don't want to be in the way of people who are running their programs.
Kristen, do you have
Yeah, I
any
can just
color?
add to that. Also, town meeting approved for fiscal 26 and 27, a small amount, just over $7,000 to implement a ranger for that property. So we're actively looking to recruit for that and identify what hours would be best. It is short dollars for those periods of time, but we are working with the Conservation Commission and the Conservation Resource Planner and the Police Department on what that would entail as well.
Excuse me, Kristen, we didn't hear what the $7,000 was for.
I'm sorry, I'll speak up. So town meeting has approved a little over $7,000 in fiscal 26 and 27 in the budget for a ranger position to go up at a mutually agreed upon time with the Conservation Commission, the Resource Planner, and the Police Department. So we're looking to fill that position soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of the keys is having it be a very irregular schedule. So that nobody can kind of plan on, they're always there Wednesday afternoon.
Sure. So I know there's some public interest about this. We already talked tonight, Kristen, about how there's the short term about setting really clear expectations with the contract that we're going to approve tonight. There's also the longer kind of roadmap discussion that we want to have about what's the longer term plan. Just any additional I guess, even outline of what that process might look like for people who are here that are interested in that topic. I know it's still under development. I know we're still in conversation with the chief about what sort of response we want to have. So a lot of moving parts here, but just anything to give kind of a little bit of an overview of what we'll be working on next year.
Yeah, so obviously the Conservation Commission has the care and custody of the property, but over the past few months, we've had ongoing conversations about the resources that they need from town staff and other outside organizations. We've also had conversations with the Westford Land Preservation Foundation on their CR and how they see the property and what that transfer may look like. We're committed to getting our group of staff together to understand all the bits and pieces from a public works perspective, a facilities perspective, a land use perspective, conservation perspective, safety, and all of that. And we want to look at this very systematically. So what are the items that are of immediate need and how can we move forward and resource that? So is it cameras or signage or increased patrols and whatnot? I didn't mention animal control has been doing patrols up there infrequently to make sure that people are on an off schedule. And then I think it's time to get our community involved again. The first master plan was done 20 years ago for the property. So I want to work with the board and the Conservation Commission on understanding, is that something that we want to do or not, and planning forward. So I think we have some immediate short-term needs that our staff is committed to working with the Conservation Commission on, obviously in concert with the select board and other stakeholders, and then that longer-term conversation of where we would want to see the property moving.
Okay, so in future meetings, people will hear kind of how we've resolved the near-term needs after we get this contract approved and these meetings happen. And then there'll be some kind of description of the roadmap over the next 6 months or so about how we're going to address this. Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thanks, Kristen. Any other questions from the board? Yeah. Chris.
If you don't mind, maybe 1 or 2 minutes on the open space and recreation master plan that I think you guys are working on, just to highlight that for the public and where we're at with that.
Yeah, that's, yes, Dan Brault and Patty Doobie and Wendy Gloyd and I have been working. The town had contracted with Northern Middlesex County Office of Government to help us draft the plan because the state had updated the workbook that's used for the plan. For people who are not familiar with the plan, that's where we lay out what our open space and recreation assets are, what we want to do over the next 10 years, what are our priorities, and they've been very helpful in guiding us through the process. We have, I think, a preliminary released version that's out. It will be reviewed by some certain boards, being the Conservation Commission and the Recreation Commission in a joint meeting on May 13th. I believe it's also going to the Planning Board and would probably be presented to the Select Board. But the important, where that plan is important, is it basically lays out our plans and our priorities for the next 10 years. And it's also a requirement, having an approved plan is a requirement for a lot of state grants. So that's kind of why we found the resources to get it done.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you. If there are any other questions from the board right now, I'll open up to members of the public who have questions.
Hi, Rick Posh, 19 Chicory Road. I spend a lot of time outdoors in Westford, and one place I avoid is East Boston camps because of dogs off leash. And on the way to this meeting, I heard this was going to be talked about, so I just wanted to comment on it. On the way to this meeting, I thought, well, maybe it's not posted. I don't know, like, why is it? So I stopped at East Boston camps minutes before I got here, and very quickly you can see a kiosk and it's posted and the rules are posted. And as I'm taking a picture of the rules, right on cue, I'm approached by a dog off leash. And it's not obedient to its owner who calls it back. It's much happier to greet me. So I just feel like it's good to report the facts on the ground. And I think of this story not as a weird thing that happened, but as very typical of my experience in East Boston camps. Further, having just a few more minutes, I walk up the road a little bit. I encountered a little green plastic bag in the middle of the road with who knows what inside it. And then a few more steps, and I just read this sign, and I thought that was all I needed. It says, "All pets must be on a leash. Please clean up after your pet." So the postings are there. I think they're widely ignored, and I just wanted to report that experience.
Great.
Thank
Thank you for sharing that.
Appreciate it.
And that is a good point. One of the things that other residents have come and talked to us about, and one of the things that we are looking at is additional signs, additional places to put them, make it a little bit harder for people to say, oh, I didn't see it. And that's also where the ranger will come in because they can just be a very friendly voice talking to people and say, you know, this is really what you need to be doing, and it just, you know, we have to do this in steps.
Excellent. Andrew?
Hello, Andrea Perna-Sweden. I'm wearing my Westford Land Preservation Foundation hat tonight. So first, I just wanted to update the board and the public where we are with the transfer of the CR from the foundation to Sudbury Valley trustees. I think, as I told you when I was here a couple of months ago, it's not quite as easy a process as we thought it was going to be, but we have been diligently working away, and where we are now is that our application and our petition is with the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General has to review it and sign off on it before it can go to the SJC, and the SJC has the final word and the final say to approve the transfer from the foundation to Sudbury Valley trustees. We have heard back from the AG's office. They are looking for a couple more items of information and a couple of more forms that we have to fill out. So we are in the process of doing that and meeting their requirements. And once we do that, we will obviously resubmit it to the Attorney General, who hopefully will sign off on it, and then it will go to the SJC for its approval. So that's where we are with that. As I would classify it as slow but steady progress. That being said, I have a couple of questions. I think the foundation has a couple of questions with respect to a couple of things. I think most immediately, the lease that you're talking about for the camps. You know, we had a meeting last September, October, I can't remember when, but we had a meeting among all of us where we discussed the camps and the lease, and also the interplay between the camps and the CR. And we also sort of asked if we could, the foundation or a representative of the foundation could participate in that. So I would like to reiterate that in negotiating the lease, that we need to make sure that they comply with the CR and the requirements that are there in the CR. I'm wondering how long the lease is for, and
So, yes, and so we had so the Conservation Commission voted to extend the lease for 5 years, delegated Jim Gazzo and myself to represent the commission in negotiation with Teamworks, and I believe it was a meeting in October where Ellen participated as a member of as a representative from the foundation, and we walked through the details of the conservation restriction. We talked to the camp operators. That one of the things that came up was using buses or vehicles to transport campers from the gate up to the camps. And in looking at the CR, it does not prohibit the use of those vehicles. It prohibits motorized vehicles like ATVs and other things from going beyond the gate, but it does not deal specifically with the transportation of campers. The thing that the camp operator also said is that they are offering discounts for people who carpool to help reduce the number of vehicle trips.
I guess I'll ask if this is moving into kind of a detailed
I just have one
maybe we'll schedule another time.
Okay, I just have one clarifying question, because now I'm confused. I think you said in your initial presentation that you are going to schedule, that you're negotiating, or that you had one bid for the lease, but then I think you just said that you went, let me finish, that you just entered a lease for 5 years, so I'm confused.
Okay, no, the commission authorized us to extend the lease, and basically what was under discussion with Jim and I and the camp operators is what would the annual rent amount be in that extended lease?
Right, but I guess my understanding is we were extending the lease for this upcoming year because we didn't have time to redo it, and then you were gonna go out and, with an RFP to seek, whether there were other entities that wanted to run the camps. So.
I think this
Okay.
is,
So,
This
I
is-
guess, do you have any perspective on this, Chris, just in terms of a fact question?
I just want to make, so Andrea, before we were talking about, there was one bidder for the caretaker.
That's my confusion,
Okay.
okay? I thought that Margaret meant there was one bid for the camps. That's,
No,
thank you, that's my confusion,
Oh, I'm sorry.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so, for now, though, you're negotiating, you're currently, just so I understand, you and Jim are currently negotiating the lease with Teamworks, or has that extension been signed?
No, it has not been signed.
So that's currently under negotiation?
Correct. And one of the
Okay.
things that we did at the most recent Conservation Commission meeting was we had the commission vote to modify that approval slightly, that instead of extending for a 5-year lease, extending for up to 5 years, because when we look at the condition of the buildings and other things, we may want the flexibility to negotiate instead of a straight full 5-year extension, is some permutation thereof in case there are things that we want to do with the camps before we get to 5 years.
Okay.
Okay?
You were
So-
at the meeting.
Okay.
And Andrea, just so I understand, I think you had a request then to have a representative as
Right.
part of the negotiation.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, we
Yeah.
would like to be there as
Okay,
part
so-
of it.
Okay.
So,
So does that works for you, Margaret? So you'll arrange for,
Well, at this point, because the change in a 5-year lease extension to an extension of up to 5 years, that is now going back to Teamworks to get them on board with that change. If somebody would like to be in the meetings that we have.
I mean, I thought that was what we had
Well, and-
understood was going to happen.
And it happened in October.
No, Margaret.
Okay.
Okay,
Can I
so-
suggest
But
that
we're
we
not gonna
have an
argue about
offline
it.
conversation?
yeah, so it sounds like there's more to settle here, but directionally, it sounds like you are open to incorporating them in the negotiation. Exactly what the negotiation next steps is in the forum, that'll be something maybe you can coordinate together.
Yes.
Okay, and Kristen, do you have a different point than that? Or the same?
I was just thinking that we could have an offline conversation, so it wasn't in the public forum
Okay.
between town staff, Conservation Commission, and the foundation.
But it sounds like we have a direction on inclusion in the negotiation, and.
Ellen Hardy from the Conservation Foundation, but I would like to elaborate on that.
Yep.
I think that this description about the camps, and also what Margaret said about the CR says that we can drive up to the camps, is endemic about the miscommunication between the Conservation Commission and what the conservation restriction is. The camps start, it's now April, and the camps start in June, and the camp operators do not know what the town's decision is about how the campers can get in there. And for the Conservation Commission to say, the CR says that we can drive up there, the Conservation Commission has no authority to interpret the CR. That's our board of directors, and that's why a nonprofit holds the CR and the town owns the property. This is the basis of the problem that we have at East Boston camps. And it needs to be, with all due respect, Christian, sooner than the May meeting. This needs to be solved in the next 2 weeks about how the CR works, what the authority is of the Conservation Commission, what they should be doing, which is to resolve how the campers is going to work in the summer of 2026. And also to know that the letter that they sent to our board that said we can drive students up to the camps because we don't see that the CR restricts that, that's not their role. And this is really important because I think it is why things are falling apart at East Boston camps. So I would like to have and I have attended, as Andrea, many of the CONSCOM meetings over the last 2 years. It was 2 years ago that they wrote us a letter and said, we'd like to pave the road into East Boston camps. And we read the CR, and it says the camp property should remain as much as it can in the same manner that it was when the town acquired it, and that roads shall not be paved. So he said, no, you can't. They have not accepted that yet, and they still have not accepted the fact that every camper cannot be driven up to the camps. So we're at an impasse, and we need something done quickly to get it clear about how East Boston Camp runs and get it back on track, because it has fallen off the tracks, and it's a disservice to the town of Westford and the voters who bought this incredible gem of property, and we need to get it back ASAP, just immediately.
Thank you for the comment. So Kristen, your proposal is to arrange an offline meeting. Do you think that'll be something that happens in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the people that need to be there will be there.
The lease for the camp is of the utmost concern right now, because
Yeah.
as Ms. Hardy stated, the camp is going to be starting in late June, is my understanding. What I was referring to on the other items is that we need some time to discuss that with our department. So the camp lease is something that we are committed to focus on with the commission and the foundation.
I have one more,
Yep,
two more
go ahead.
comments, one more.
Yep.
In the caretaker contract that you're going to sign tonight, I saw the contract in the package of materials, but the contract, when I was looking to see what the caretaker's responsibilities were going to be and what the hours of that individual was going to be, et cetera, it kept referring me to the contract documents. The contract documents weren't in the packet, so
It was posted late, we apologize.
I don't know what the contract documents say, so if we could, if we could get those, that would be
Those
helpful.
are posted up.
They
yes.
have been posted, we apologize for getting them up late.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then the one final comment that I have, and this goes to long-term planning, Kristen, that you were discussing, and I think, and I agree, and Elizabeth brought it up as one of her questions, that the town, it's been 20 years since we did a master plan for the property. I think we need to take a look at the property again. I think we need to see what works on that property, what may no longer be viable for, either safety reasons or because it's in non-use or because it's falling down and it doesn't make sense to repair. I think all of those issues need to be looked at. And I think, Kristen, when you're looking at them, I really think that it's not just town staff that needs to be involved. You really need to get the community involved. We were all involved 20 years ago. You heard, at least from several people tonight, who have pretty strong opinions about what should or shouldn't go on there. So I think it's very important that as you think about long-term planning, that you have the community involved, and maybe it involves setting up another small subcommittee to look at East Boston camps, look at what the future is, look at what 5 and 10 years down the road looks, and plans for that. But in fact, it would be my suggestion you set up such an advisory committee, moving forward. So those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you
I
very
think
much.
I did say that to the board, but maybe I didn't articulate it to the audience, so thank you for reiterating that.
Excellent. Yeah, please.
Nancy Rosinski. So I'm going to start with Margaret. I appreciate your candidness that you opened your comments with, and really made me think that I think all of you guys didn't really buy on to be under the Conservation Commission to deal with building maintenance and campers and contracts. So, it's really not what your passion is, I'm sure. So I appreciate you being candid about that, and the effort you're working to do is like getting the boats out of there, adding an extra meeting. So I thank you for that. And I hear what you're saying, Kristen, that I think we got to look longer term, like maybe relook, as Andrea mentioned too, about what does the public really want there. I think that's good. Pulling in town staff wherever, but I feel like we have a gap, and that's what I want to talk to now, is I think we have some immediate needs, and I'm bringing up now because I think the people around this table can help the Conservation Commission with that. You've all heard about the vandalism up there. It's awful. I was amazed at what's happened over the winter. People are smashing down doors. They're ripping off the padlocks and the wood that opens the doors so they can get in the buildings. Windows are broken. And it's, just this weekend, they were busting into the boathouse, right? So, that's just going to keep getting destroyed more and more and more. And I think we need to get a police presence out at East Boston camps on occasion so that people know there's people watching. And if catching them is going to be a little tricky. Maybe once you get your cameras you can. But if they have a presence, hopefully that'll start to diminish and start, giving tickets, if people are breaking the law, you gotta get them for that, right? So I think we have to do something about the vandalism before it just gets worse and worse up there. Another big issue, I think, is building safety. Buildings, the whole maintenance of the buildings is a big issue in itself. That one you're not gonna solve tomorrow, right? But I'm no building expert, but I do think there's a few buildings up there that you may wanna take a look at, because I think there's a safety issue, where there's, big holes in the roofs, there's huge trees over the top, there's this collapsed building with a nice spike up. If some person came along and tripped on it, it would not be a good outcome. And I think those are the things, if I were in your seats, I would put that as a sense of urgency. And hey, let's go look at those buildings, see if there's anything there that's really hazardous to the public that we got to do something about now and not wait for another year when we all study this for a while. So I think a little effort needs to get put on that. The dogs off leash, that's been spoken to. That's not all that hard either. It's getting that dog officer out there a little more. And I heard what you said about friendly talk. I've done that so many times. You'd be quite amazed some of the feedback I get when I'm very friendly about that your dog needs to be on a leash. So I don't think that works. Get the dog officer out there, start issuing tickets. And I think very quickly the word's going to get out. Oh, no, they're issuing tickets, and then it's going to start to change. But if we're just talking to people, you're not going to see a change out there. And then it's just, enforcing the rules. And I hope we can find a way there's more presence on the weekend in the summertime, because I understand that's when it really gets bad out there with all the trash and the drinking and the campfires. So I think those things you got to address lickety-splickety and not wait for a year to do some of those. And I don't think the solutions are really all that hard. That, I think if you get the police department involved and help the CONSCOM with some of these issues, that, we can make some improvement. It won't be everything, but it can be a start. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Almeida, I have one practical question about the camps and the driving. I know we're talking about Teamworks and their contract. Is the rec department running a camp up there this year as well? So will the same rules apply to the rec department, or will those families be driving up the hill?
As Ellen said with the CR, if one group is allowed, then the other one is. If one group isn't allowed, then the other one isn't. So, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that's in the conversation so that we don't end up with two different solutions and then we have conflict going on the first week of camp, so.
Yes,
sure
we
that one's
always
covered.
treat both camp
Okay.
operations the same.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Please.
Hi. June McMorrow, Kings Pine Road. And I don't really come to see you folks that often, but certainly I have come before the Conservation Commission, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 times, mostly during the summer when there seems to be more problems. And I've been doing this for years. And why do I keep coming? Well, I don't like it when I'm up there and the very next day after I had come to talk to you on March 25th, I'm walking up the trail and I can hear voices from the boathouse. And I look and I see 2 young men in the boathouse, lifting a boat down onto the dock, putting in the water and paddling away in it. And I did call the Westford police because I said to myself, this is an active crime scene. So I called them. I don't know what happened, but I did see them in the boathouse. I didn't see them break into the boathouse, but I think that that's private property and they have no business being in there. And I hope that there was more than just getting a slap on their hand. I heard a reference made at the beginning, I think, of your talk about getting more signage up there. This Sunday afternoon, my most recent email, which I did forward to you folks last night, and which I had sent to you and a multitude of other people who I thought should be made aware of it. Sunday afternoon, walking up to the day beach, to the recreation camp's beach. I come up there, what's in the water? A dinghy and a canoe. And I said to myself, I just have a feeling that despite the fact that I know that Matthew secured the boathouse on the 27th of March, I just have this feeling deep down that when I get to the boathouse, it's gonna be broken into again, and it was. But as I'm coming up to the beach, I see a bunch of people sitting on the benches below the signs that say, the signs say no alcohol, no barbecues or open fires, and no trash. And two of the young ladies drinking a Corona beer. I did talk to Lieutenant Gendron later when he came back down from the property, and he said there was no alcohol on the beach. Well, I know what a Corona beer bottle looks like, and it was open, and I didn't see them drinking it, but clearly it was in the process of being consumed. The signs that are on all three of the beaches do have a list of first offense, second offense, third offense. Are we issuing these people any tickets? And if they're repeat offenders, I think they should be trespassed from the property. And I mean, I don't know, are arrests appropriate in some of these instances? Talking to these people and being nice about it and just putting up more signs, they just don't care. So I just, you know, it's just out of control up there.
Yeah.
And for clarification, the signs that I mentioned are no trespassing signs on the boathouse and other buildings, so that there is the person is not able to say, well, I didn't know I was not allowed to go in the building.
Oh, but come on, really?
So thank you for that comment, I appreciate that. June, do you have other points you'd like to make?
No.
We've heard in many,
yeah.
We've heard it's unacceptable, we've heard that we need to look at enforcement, we need to look at a bunch of stuff, and I know that's what Kristen is looking at in this very near term, is how do we reestablish whatever our expectations are. So heard, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, putting more signs up, I don't think is gonna help, because here we are sitting on the bench under the no alcohol signs, two people drinking Corona beer.
Yeah.
So, they don't pay attention to the signs.
Yeah.
And do we really need signs up that say, please don't break into our boathouse and take our boats out? I mean, it makes no sense to me. And I think the fact that it just goes on and on and on, and it's just escalating, it's just like a cancer that we're allowing to grow, because nobody does anything to these folks.
Yeah, and your point is very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? Anything online? Kristen, on this? Yeah.
So, having been on the ConsCom for 3.5 years, this came up very regularly. I was there when June went there, and personally for myself, I've stopped going to East Boston camps because of the dogs off leash, and having, I go there to enjoy myself, and then I end up calling the Westford police, and that's just not enjoyable. So with the camps happening, with this have been happening for so long, I feel like it needs to be taken care of sooner rather than later. And I agree with June that the police down there is great, but we need to start issuing tickets. Because once people hear they're handing out tickets, that's when the behavior will change. And it's not changing just by going down there and saying, you need to have your dog off leash, you can't party here, you need to pick up your trash. I do think that we need to be a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressive, but firm in this situation, and I think that it needs to be taken care of sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think very near-term conversation with our law enforcement people, understanding what role the ranger is going to have, all of that needs to be reviewed, and we need to sort of reissue a plan, because what we're doing now is not working.
I have a couple more comments that you folks haven't heard, but you've heard them all, of course. And you've read them all, because I've said them all to you over the years.
Yeah.
Last year, if I wanted to go to Wingashiko Good Harbor Beach, it was $40 during the week and $45 on the weekend. There were restroom facilities, trash barrels, etc. You go to the camps, doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pick up your trash. You got the whole beach to yourself. And it's just like crazy. It's crazy to me. The other thing is, as a law-abiding citizen in Westford, if I want to have a function at the camps, I have to reach out to Michelle Collette. I have to sign a contract. pay a contract fee. If I want to serve alcohol at my party, I have to come to you folks and get a 24-hour or 48-hour, if I'm having a long weekend wedding or something, I have to get a permit for alcohol. I also have to hire a certified tips bartender. I think those are the rules for the law-abiding people. These people, there are no rules. Okay, that's all, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Okay, any other comments on this topic? So, full plate, I think we understand what we're doing next year.
And we look forward to hearing from the Conservation Commission when you have your meeting.
Yes,
Wednesday,
and
the 29th.
and you're gonna help quarterback a meeting with the,
Yes, the Preservation
in
Foundation.
the course of the next couple weeks, okay. Great, thank you so much, Margaret. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you. We are now going to our 720 item, which is a request to sign the May 5th annual town election warrant. I don't know, is Lori?
She's not here, I can handle this.
Sure, if you just explain what it is, I think it's fairly
Yeah,
self-evident. but-
absolutely. So every year around this time, the select board is asked to sign the annual town election warrant. Papers were to be turned in for the open seats by March 17th. Those were turned in and certified. So we have openings on the planning board and housing authority for 5-year terms. We have openings on the Board of Health, Board of Library Trustees, School Committee, Select Board, and Town Moderator for 3 years, and then Select Board term for 1 year. So there are seats on all of those. There are people running. So to create the ballots and get ready for the election, we ask that the Select Board sign this warrant this evening. So you have that in your packet.
Okay, excellent. Any questions from the board on this? Any questions from the public related to certifying signing, I should say, the annual town election warrant? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the signing of the May 5th annual town election warrant, and we'll subsequently sign the document.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So there's 6 copies, so I want to wait till the end
Why don't
to
we
do
do
it,
that?
so we don't lose anything. Okay.
Next up is our 7:45, a review of the 2026 annual town meeting with our moderator, Angela Harkness. Welcome, Angela.
Hello. So thank you for having me for this debrief. I think this is a really worthwhile thing. I hope it continues beyond my tenure. In terms of this particular meeting, I think things generally went very, very well. I was happy that that happened for my last meeting. So just to start, our initial estimates for how many people were going to attend were off. This is the first time they've been off. We all knew that it was a very small sample this time, and so we didn't have a lot of confidence in the numbers. However, it was the only numbers we had, so we really had to prepare for the 842, I think, that the survey said were going to attend, which meant 2 rooms. We only had 471 people, which meant we could limit it to 1 room. So we had to prepare for the 2. It was the only choice we had, but we ended up in 1 room. The meeting was just under 6 hours, excluding the lunch break. We had 22 articles, actually 33 motions, because a couple of the articles had multiple motions. And that, of course, included the budget and 19 CPA projects and a citizens petition. And just for a comparison, the special town meeting in October, there were 13 articles with 16 motions, no budget, no CPA article, and it lasted for 4 hours. So I think that's a pretty good comparison. We did a lot better this time than for the special town meeting. And I really think we can attribute that to the availability and presentation of information on most of the articles by town staff. I think making that information available for the voters ahead of time and then presenting it again clearly at the meeting anticipated a lot of the questions and shortened a lot of the things up. It was just not as necessary for people to ask questions. I mean, I didn't limit the debate hardly at all, so everybody asked what questions they had, but there weren't as many because of the great job that was done with the presentations. The usual things, parking and check-in were both great. Coffee, the Roots program again served somewhere between 40 and 50 cups of coffee in the morning. They're very happy with the way that went. Everybody seems to love that. Lunch also went well. We ordered 150 lunches. We sold 140. I don't know that we could get any closer than that. And after trying a couple of things, I think having the Westford cafeteria staff prepare and sell lunches is probably the way to go. That seems like the most logical thing after we tried a couple of other things in past years that really didn't work. The advocates and the advocacy presentations stayed outside in their designated spots. Over the last couple of years, we've presented a map showing people where they could stand if they had signs or wanted to collect signatures or hand out literature outside the building. And I really think that that's been presented enough times so that there's an expectation there that that's where people have to be. The police are great at enforcing it. And it's, in my mind, we've successfully balanced people's right to free speech with the voters' rights to enter and vote without feeling that they're being put upon on their way in. So I think that works very well. I hope that can continue as well. The transportation and childcare both ran well. We should continue both. The most interesting thing is that Bob Rafferty often at the end of the meeting picks up people whose cars are parked far away and drives them to their cars in the WA lot, and people love that. A lot of people have said, oh, that's great. So, I hope that'll continue. And that's totally initiated by him. If he wasn't doing the shuttling, he would just do that. So that's really, really been great. And Michelle Collette was, again, flexible about some kids coming and not being signed up, but she took them anyway. We just need to continue to try to do a better job of telling people to sign up in advance so there's sufficient staff. She was able to do it because a couple of kids who were signed up didn't show up, so it was kind of a trade-off. Probably one of the best things that happened was after, I think every year I did meetings, there was complaints about the captioning at the bottom of the screens, and that has apparently been resolved thanks to WestfordCAT and their consultant, Seth Graham. The wording was large and it was on time, it wasn't slow, and I got a couple of positive comments about that. So we can cross that off the list as a problem, which was kind of sticky. Having the minors, the kids in the room, I think we can probably do better on, and I hope that my replacement will consider allowing the students to be in there in a special spot, maybe with a policeman back there, so that, because the problem is, it's hard to determine if they're participating in voice votes, which, as you know, can really speed up the meeting. So if there's somebody there monitoring and making sure they're not participating, I think they can be in the room, but I would still say that the non-voter adults should be outside the room in room 101. I put a couple of wish list things down for the future. If you ever have any extra money, you can buy 500 comfy chairs. The voters will thank you, I can guarantee it. And honestly, when you think about it, it's not, I bet you it's not that much, and if you spread it out over a couple of years, you could probably do it. I think we have about 50 of them already. You only need 500 because that's what fits on the floor, and after that, we end up in the PAC where the chairs are already comfortable. So it's just something to consider. Maybe just get a quote and see how much it costs. It might be less than you think. I think we need to continue to provide the excellent information ahead of time and during the meeting, the videos, the written information, whatever is available. That really makes things go quickly. Chris suggested, and it's a great suggestion, we couldn't do it this time, there wasn't enough time, putting a simplified explanation of each motion in the motions booklet, sort of what I try to do from the podium, just a 1 or 2 sentence explanation in plain English as to what the motion is doing. They do it in Acton. Chris had sent me a copy of their motions booklet. It's a great idea, but we need to do it ahead of time. It probably should go with the rest of the motions to town council to make sure that there's no legal issues with it. And I think that's something we should be done too. Yeah, another wish list item is everybody keeps saying the projector is like really, really old and we really should get a new one. And my fear has always been that it's just going to break down in the middle of a meeting sometime. And I don't know what we would do then. I guess hold up signs with the slides on them. We need to continue to work with the Council on Disability. Wendy sent a great email this morning, I don't know how many of you saw it, about all the different things that we've done in terms of working with the Commission on Disability to make sure that everybody has access to the meetings. Mike's done a great job. And it identifies, working with them identifies some things that actually apply to everybody, but it's just that it's more applicable to people who have accessibility issues, but it improves things for everybody. One example is the screens on the side. And one thing we need to do with those screens is raise them up. There's some issue with the mounts that keeps them from going higher, but hopefully you can look into that and get that taken care of. And we should continue to announce the dates of the meetings as far in advance as possible, a year if possible. I don't know if you have a date for October, but if you don't, you should get one and announce it as quickly as possible. It keeps people from scheduling things on that date. And I think that's it. I hope, as I said in my memo, that you continue to recognize and emphasize the importance of town meeting, because when that comes from the top, the voters recognize and support it as well, and are aware of how important it is that they attend and participate.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the detailed report, too.
John, do you mind handing that folder to Tom, please?
Before we do what might be our last official interaction with you in this role, any questions from the board for Angela?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, Chris?
Yeah, I can't tell you how nice it is to have this written report, because it does really bring it back to our focus. You kind of get through town meeting, it's such a rush and so much going on, and you're so glad to be done with it, and you're like, all right, done, forget about it. But this is a great chance for us to hear it again, see what we're missing. I never really thought about, like, if that projector goes dead, what do we do? Right? That's a great question for our contingency planning. Are we all going to go to the next auditorium? I mean, but it's a really important point. So I do appreciate you giving this careful thought and writing it down so we have it for the record, and hopefully we can continue to iterate and make our open town meeting the best in class.
Yeah. It's helpful for the moderator too. It'll be helpful for any moderator, because you do forget, you prepare, and as soon as it's over, it's like, the curtain comes down and you don't want to think about it again. But having to do this makes the moderator think about what happened and didn't happen as well. So.
Any questions from the public?
Sure. Elizabeth Almeida, since I'm here, I may as well speak my mind, right?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Angela, for a wonderful town meeting, and to the town staff, select board. I know how much goes into all that, and you guys really did a lot of work. And Mike, everything you did for Pay As You Throw, prepping us, thank you for that. I had one piece of feedback that maybe you could add to your report to make town meeting even better. My kids laugh at me when I say this, but I say, it was so dark I couldn't hear very well. They don't get it yet, but the lighting I recognize you're balancing the lighting for the projector so that we can see what's on the screen, but then we can't see the moderator very well, and it can be harder to hear for those of us that need to see the speaker well. And so I was sitting towards the back of the room trying to imagine. I didn't come up with a solution, but I did think we have a fabulous theater department at WA that knows a whole lot about lighting and has a whole lot of equipment. So I thought this is probably a problem we could solve if we test some things out ahead of time and get the right people.
It is a function of the ability to see the screens.
Right.
And also the limitation you're under, because the gym lights are on banks. So you can't shut just one or two
which
lights
ones
down.
you can-
When you shut those front lights down so people can see the screen, which is another complaint, that they can't see the screen, you're shutting the first two banks down. And we've tried shutting only one, and that just makes the screen invisible.
Yeah.
There probably is a solution. I couldn't find it, but maybe the next person can.
Yeah, maybe worth pulling in some other brains for that. But my kids laugh at me for that line, but I was thinking of it sitting there. So, but thank you to everyone for the outstanding town meeting.
Emily Teller, 9 Texas Road, ditto to everything positive you just said. What a legacy you're leaving. Maybe you could have a light on, facing just the moderator on a big pole or something, I don't know. But I also noticed, hey, whatever works. It's better than like underneath, where you look like a ghost.
I could hold a flashlight under.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. I didn't see the captions on the front screen. They don't go there, right?
No,
But-
they're on the TV screens.
Okay, because I have never, I sit in the front all the time, and this time I was in the back for a few minutes, and it's like, oh, look, there's text coming up here, and it really was the same, it was great, that was a really good idea. As far as the chairs, I know that when I worked the polls at Westford Academy, everybody's sitting on comfortable chairs.
Yeah, we have about 50.
All right, so put them on the aisle or something, so that people could choose to sit there who needed it. I mean, anyway, we can use the resources we have, but thank you, it's great.
I don't want to encourage fistfights among the voters.
Arrive early. What's, any other, before we move to this last special recognition, any other comments from the board, from the public? So this will not, compare with the long standing ovation you received in appreciation from members of the town. But we do want to present this simple token presented to you, Angela Harkness, in appreciation for 6 years as moderator and service to the town of Westford, given this 14th day of April 2026 by the Select Board, with all of our best signatures on it. Maybe if we could just come through. Thank you so much. And is this the last interaction like this?
Unless there's a special town meeting called between now and the election.
We can make it happen.
14 days.
Almost all we have to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
Angela.
for all the help everyone's given me over the years. Thank you.
Okay, impossible to follow that, but I'm going to try. Next up is our 8 p.m. item, which is to review and approve the vote prepared by the Bond Council regarding useful life of pumper truck approved at the March 22nd town meeting, Article 5 to be borrowed, March 2020. And maybe if we could just do a quick description of what this is, then maybe we can step through the rest. Maybe if you could describe what these next series of things are.
Absolutely. So we have 2 requests for just verification that our trucks are going to last 20 years. That's something that Bond Council has been requesting. We're finding that they're requesting more and more detailed amounts of information. So we have one that would have been done typically right after town meeting back in March 2023. However, back then we may not have needed this piece of information for Bond Council. It was brought forward while we were bonding a few other things and trying to greenlight those projects through. So we decided we would throw it into the mix for tonight since we were going to do another truck anyways that was already part of a different greenlight letter. Greenlight letter is just allowing us to, it's certifying that we've gone through all of the proper steps from Bond Council in order to go out to bid and borrow. And then the next one obviously is our ban acceptance. So I gave you a little bit of a brief explanation of what happened with the ban. This is somewhat unique. Our lowest bid was only for it was a large portion, but a portion of the ban. And so not to upset the apple cart of changing the rules mid-game, we have accepted this bid at the lowest interest rate, which is wonderful.
Do you want to say what that rate is, just so we can?
Yes, I don't have it in front
Tout
of me
that
right
in our
this second.
great,
It is
Steve
2. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. 2.454. We received a $587,408 premium for that. So that's basically money towards the interest right off the front of everything. We will pay that at the first interest cost when we pay off this ban next year. So due to the $38 million that we've banned, we are going to go back out to bid to ban the additional portion. We're thinking we'll likely do that sometime in June. The reason for that is that we're going to line the due date up with the ban that we just did. And so the longer we wait to borrow it, the less interest we pay because we're borrowing it for less time. And while we're at it, we're also going to borrow the funds that are needed for Boston Road that is going to begin this year. We were anticipating it would start more like in July. It is now going to start this year, so we're going to borrow those funds. It was convenient that we are actually up to do this, so all worked out.
Thank you very much for that excellent and clear description. Any questions? We'll vote these individually, but any questions about the 8 o'clock, 8:05, 8:10 items that we're going to go through? Any questions from the public about these very important financial steps? Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve the vote prepared by bond council regarding useful life of pumper truck 5, fire truck, approved the March 22nd, 2025 town meeting, Article 5 due to be borrowed for March 2020.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next up, I'll entertain a motion to approve the vote prepared by bond council regarding useful life of the ladder truck approved at the March 25th, 2023 town meeting, Article 5, due to be borrowed for April 29, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next up is a request to approve, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bond anticipation notes bands in the amount of $38 million for the projects as listed in our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we have a series of documents. We'll sign those tonight. John, you have a few as clerk and then a few as the full board. And I'll get them to you in the morning.
Absolutely. There is an entire packet there. Some of them do not require any of your signatures. I did try and label them very clearly for you.
Hannah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Okay. Next up is Area 15 item, authorize the town manager to execute a community preservation grant agreement with the Middlesex County 4-H. I'm sure this relates to the CPC things that came before us at town meeting.
Yes, so we had a number of CPC articles that were approved. Several of them were for outside entities of the town. One is for Middlesex 4-H. We have Tom Delaney here from the organization of the 4-H. Our staff has prepared a grant agreement similar to the other grant agreements that we've done for outside organizations. We've reviewed that with town council. We've reviewed that with the 4-H organization. We'd be asking you to authorize me to execute that pending any other items.
Great. Well, thank you for being here tonight. I think this is pretty straightforward. Any questions people have about essentially authorizing Kristen to execute this grant agreement? Okay, any questions from the public? Anybody online?
No.
Okay.
See if Tom has any comments.
Well, yeah, Tom, welcome. Any wisdom you want to share with us tonight?
No, I just want to thank the board and thank the town of Westford for the opportunity for helping us out over there. And we've been there for a long time, as you guys probably be all aware. This is going to help us get a big safety issue taken care of. We're going to be rebuilding one of the walls along one of the rings there. And appreciate you trying to get it done fast for us. We're going to try to get this work done before our show season. Our first show is first Sunday in June. We're going to try to get it done before then, so I appreciate you rushing this along for us.
Great. Well, good luck, and thank you for being such an excellent partner to the town.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to authorize town manager to execute community preservation grant agreement with Middlesex County 4-H.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
We'll get that signed and back out
Thanks,
to
Tom.
you this week. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Next up, Kristen, is old new business.
Yes, so a few months ago, we had the communications consultant, CSS, before you to give another update on the comprehensive communications plan. There were some comments received back from some board members, and we revisited that with CSS. We don't have them here tonight because I feel that the changes were adequately satisfied by the board members, so this would be to just officially adopt that comprehensive communications plan.
Yeah, so thank you for everyone doing extensive back and forth review as we work through this issue. I think everyone's comfortable with where we landed. Okay.
I do have one question.
Yep.
Did we reach out to other board chairs to get their input on this?
I don't believe we did.
Not on the plan. We're working on the strategy now, so we can reach out to the boards and committees on the strategy.
Okay.
Any questions from the board? Questions from the board?
More like a comment. I know you all have my email. I know that's in the packages, but, and maybe my comment goes to strategies, Kristen, as opposed to the plan itself. But, you know, I heard earlier tonight that you're having a tri-boards meeting, and one of the items that you're going to be discussing at the tri-boards meeting is community outreach and engaging with parts of our community and residents that we, you know, don't or haven't effectively engaged up until now. And I also certainly know that when I looked at the plan, you know, one of its goals was, I believe, transparency and building a trust with the community. I looked through the plan, and one of the things that I saw a lot about outreach and creating new things through social media and the internet or whatever, but one of the things I didn't see was engaging the public in our public meetings, and particularly when they can't actually get to the meeting in person. You know, we have boards that, you know, the conservation, the planning board, other boards that you can only attend in person. And we have, you know, this was an issue when I was on the board that we talked about, and so I'm bringing it up again. I think that when you look at strategies and when you reach out to other committees and boards, you really need to think about hybrid meetings, because for some people, that's the only way that they can access meetings, that they can participate, or they can learn about what's going on. And, you know, we have a lot of things going on in this community right now that a lot of people are interested in, and that are going to have a pretty big impact on not only on our residents, but on the community, on our community as a whole. So one of the things, and I guess this is a strategy that I truly believe you need to look at, and I advocated for this when I was on the board, is hybrid meetings, and making sure that, particularly our elected boards, that hybrid is available for our residents, because otherwise, I think you're failing in your goal of communicating with the community and with our residents. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this suggestion. Emily?
Hello again. I echo what Andrea just said, because I agree with that, and I think I tune into hybrid meetings, and it's a good thing. And I think, do you need to mandate that those other boards discuss this and approve it? Because I know the approval has to come from the board to do that.
Yeah, so Kristen can correct me, but in some cases, they're peer boards, so we can make a recommendation, we can say it's the town's preferred policy, but they would actually have to take the step themselves to implement. So in some cases, we could make that policy and say, you know, we ask that you comply with this, but in other cases, they would independently have to adopt it. We can't direct them to adopt it.
Would you direct those boards that you can direct to do that? I mean, I think we've talked about it multiple times in this venue, and if you can and they can, I think we should move ahead with that.
Yeah, so we'll take as an action item to go back and investigate. It's certainly preferred, and so we can try to be persuasive. We can try to offer up support to make it easy to do. So thank you for this suggestion.
And the other thing, you said tonight that the plan has taken in the comments from the board, but there were many public comments that night too, and I hope that they did listen to those. I have two questions. Is the boilerplate language, has that been changed so that it really reflects their contract with Westford and their intention with Westford? Because I stood up and I remember I told you I didn't read the whole 56 pages, but I read a lot, and it was a lot of boilerplate, and I resented that because it didn't seem like they were really a partner with us.
Yeah, I guess, Kristen, can you comment on sort of the level of back and forth? And I think they were in the end responsive to our suggestions, and there were a bunch of them.
I think, to be honest with you, Emily, some of it still is boilerplate because it is best practice related to how we should be communicating. There's also an appendix in the plan that lays out how we specifically would communicate in certain items that are specific to Westford.
So I guess that's the best we can do. And my third question is, have they gotten in touch with WestCAT yet? Is there any kind of partnership or meeting happening or advice going back and forth?
Yes, there's a meeting set up for April 30th.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Emily. Margaret?
Yes, Margaret Wheeler. Just a question, because having served on a board where we have public meetings, they're broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. One of the questions I would have is, when you make it a hybrid meeting, is the questions, the input, et cetera, from that person who's participating hybrid captured in the Westford, the Westford Cable Access TV? Because I think it's very important that that becomes part of the public record, if that's part of the way the meetings that conducted.
Yes, that is the case for select board meetings, school committee meetings, and others that are hybrid. That is in the public domain at WestfordCAT. Yes.
Does that also require additional staff to help orchestrate the meeting? Because I know, thinking back to when I was liaison to the Agricultural Commission, a lot of the stuff, it was just the members of the commission doing everything, including the minutes. So also sometimes it's recognizing what things like, what extra work or stuff that this creates for the boards.
Yes,
So thank you.
understood, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Just if I-
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So just to clarify your response, so we are running this concurrently with Zoom, right? And then obviously WestfordCAT's videoing it. So how are we merging comments that come in through Zoom into the public record, just so people already know exactly what you meant by that?
So I don't want to speak for WestfordCAT, but I believe that they have our feed as well through the Zoom, and they can capture that. But let me get back to you after I speak
I think
with
we need
them.
to do that, because I don't know how that's being done. I just want to make sure we're clear on that. I also just wanted to point out that, to Margaret's point, because I have been on commissions and boards where you are the only people there, there's no staff, it does make it challenging. I think one of the issues that we're having with it, moving forward with this, is lack of capability from that perspective. Not every board and commission are meeting in a room that is capable of really hosting a hybrid meeting. We've tried to sort of make it work with Park and Rec over in the third floor there of Rodenbush, and it's a challenge. So I think, just be patient as we try to work through some of these issues, but I certainly agree that it's something that we need to continue to move forward on. So I hope to see that we make progress in the near future.
Okay. Any other comments from the board, from the public? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the comprehensive communication plan. It's a jump ball. Okay. Thank you, John. Do I have a second? Wow, you guys are no hurry. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, you can pick up the pace here, folks. Okay, next up is a request to approve special municipal employees. Kristen.
Yes, so every once in a while, we work with the town clerk's office to designate certain boards and committees or certain positions as special municipal employees. We did this in April of 2025, as it had not been done in quite some time. And in that, we have created several new boards and commissions at that between then and now. And we realized that there were several boards and committees that had not been recognized as special municipal employees. So you do have a list in your packet of those that we are requesting designation, and then the clerk would certify that. What a special municipal employee is it allows boards and committee members to be protected under the ethics law and to also hold a paid position with the town of Westford if they so are selected for that position.
Thanks. Any questions about the approval of special municipal employees? Questions from the public? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the special municipal employees as outlined in our materials.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, much better. Next up, review and act to file special legislation with Representative Arciero for digital-only legal notices as approved under Article 20 at annual town meeting. Those of you that joined us at annual town meeting will recall that we did vote in favor of this. So this is just the next procedural
This is
step.
the next process to file with the legislature to then get a bill in place to move this through the process to become law. And then once this moves through, the select board will then vote to put an article on the town warrant to change our general bylaw, and then that would be voted upon at town meeting.
Okay, excellent. Any questions about this? Questions from the public? I'll entertain a motion to file the special legislation with Representative Arciero for digital-only legal notices approved under Article 20 at annual town meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next up is to review and act to sign a memorandum of understanding with the United States Capitol Police. Kristen, you want to describe what that is?
Yeah, I think this needs a little bit of description. So 2 weeks ago, Congresswoman Turhan had a town meeting at Stony Brook Middle School, and her staff requested that Westford Police be present at the event to provide additional security. We did pay our police officers overtime for that. We were informed that we can get reimbursed by the federal government for that time, so we would request that the select board enter into this MOU to allow for us to request that reimbursement.
Any questions about that?
And town council has reviewed the MOU.
Good. Thank you.
Kristen, do we know approximately what that amount is?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I can certainly get that.
But it's overtime hours?
Yes, yes.
For how many officers?
I don't know how many officers
Okay.
they had in place.
Great, thanks.
Okay, any other questions from the board, from the public for that one? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to sign the memorandum of understanding with the United States Capitol Police.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. Next up, request from the Zoning Board of Appeals to appoint Michael Cataldo to the vacant alternate seat for a term to expire on June 30th, 2029. Any questions regarding that? Yeah, please.
Scott McKay, Chair of the Zoning Board. I'm here to ask for a twofer tonight. Unbeknownst to us, we had another member who was leaving after serving on the board for many, many, many years. So Michael Cataldo was a unanimous choice for the position that we all of a sudden discovered that we had that we didn't know we had filled. And then we have Ryan Wepley is the other person that was in a unanimous decision for the position that's going to be available starting July.
Okay. And just process, does it need to be in the agenda, or we can go ahead and entertain that tonight?
So my recommendation is that if you'd like to appoint Michael Cataldo this evening, we do that. We're looking to do the appointments that are up for the June 30th all at one time at your first meeting in June or last meeting in May. So I would wait on the second candidate.
Okay, is that acceptable to you, Scott?
Because you won't need that
Yes, it
seat.
has to be, right?
Well, we're flexible. Okay, so thank you very much for letting us know. Questions for the Zoning Board of Appeals? Any questions from the public? Okay, Emily.
Who's leaving?
David Earl.
And this is, go ahead. You might want to finish this, but then I have a relevant question.
Do you want to go to the...
My concern is didn't you just say that the board members whose terms expire at the end of June, you'll be reconsidering those expiration dates the end of May or the 1st of June? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions related to the Zoning Board of Appeals appointment?
I just
Yeah.
had a comment about the picks for this particular board. They tend to be contractors and electricians and people that are, working in town. And I am a little bit worried about a conflict of interest there. And I would hope that in the future we can get more diversity within that group of people in town. That's my comment.
Yeah, that came up in earlier discussion too. So I know we value the experience, and it helps a lot to have people who have the experience to be there. You also have the people that volunteer, so your pool is a certain way. But I think there is an interest just for all committees to try to make sure we're representing the full breadth of people in the community when we're filling these important positions.
Ryan Wepley is an attorney. We've always had a lawyer on that board. And so it's nice to have another attorney back, because a lot of times we get into situations, you ask questions that we don't know the answer to because we're not attorneys. And the citizens' activity forms, I don't know what your experience with them is, but we had 10 or 11 candidates. Out of that, half of them didn't show up. I mean, so we're doing what we can with what we were offered.
Yeah. I think it's just a friendly suggestion.
Yeah.
We're always interested in making sure that all the viewpoints of the community, as best we can, are represented.
And I think if you start watching some of our meetings, all the gray hair is going away. I'm trying to bring in some young people to continue the board on, because, in that board, you need a lot of what I call tribal knowledge. I like to have the townies in there because they've been around a long time. They know what that used to look like, or how that building was built, or something else. And those are the situations we run into every week.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Emily, do you have a question related to this?
Sorry. How is the vacancy of Dave Earl? I know he's an alternate, right? So I guess I'm wondering about the process for letting the public know that there is a new vacancy, so that other people who might be interested can apply for that citizens application.
Yeah, so we've been putting that in the town manager's newsletter and putting out news flashes frequently of vacancies. So we do that on a monthly basis.
From your office. Again, I would say, what about WestfordCAT? I mean, I remember seeing, I think the Littleton posts are often in the Action Unlimited when they have vacancies. So that's just another thought.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Okay, I don't think we have any other comments on this one, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the request from the Zoning Board of Appeals to appoint Michael Cataldo to the vacant alternate seat for a term to expire June 30, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. We also have a request to, from the Affordable Housing Trust to appoint Nancy Cook to the vacant alternate seat for a term to expire on June 30, 2028. And I know Nancy's here. Nancy, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Can't get there from here. Hi there, I'm Nancy Cook, and I appreciate the consideration tonight. Most of what I do in my public and private life is around affordable housing, whether it's my position with Habitat or the Council on Aging or the Housing Authority. Even TREAD program is for helping the elderly and disabled. So I do attend 90% of the affordable housing meetings anyway, so I would like to be considered for the alternate. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for the candidate or about this request? Any questions from the public? Okay, there being none, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Nancy Cook to the vacant alternate seat for a term to expire June 30th, 2028 on the Affordable Housing Trust.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Tom, before you move, thank you.
But-
I just realized that there was 2 questions put into the Q&A a
Okay.
little bit late, so I just want to recognize them
Yep.
for the board. So Diane Wood, and I believe this is related to the question of hybrid meetings, said the League of Women Voters has requested that the planning board consider remote meetings. They're waiting to have this discussed at a meeting in the future. And then Lynn Cohen asked a question about the special municipal employees, asking why the 35 Town Farm Road Task Force was not included. I reviewed this with the clerk's office today. We have traditionally not delegated task force to the special municipal employees, but the clerk has reviewed this with the Ethics Commission today, and we can if we want. So if we'd like to put that on a future agenda, if that task force would like to be delegated as so, it is a legal action, a positive legal action.
Okay, is it your sense that that would serve an interest to do so?
We can have a further conversation with the task force chair between now and your next meeting and put it on if you'd like to be designated.
Okay, that sounds like a great approach.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, while we're still on the affordable housing, we just remind folks, because I have heard from some members of the community about the fact that we have, like, if you look at this document, everybody on this committee is expiring on,
Yes.
the set date. So I just want to make sure we let people know we're working on that.
We are. So when we come to you in late May, early June, the clerk, our executive assistant in our office, and myself have been having working meetings to make sure that we're going to be staggering the terms that are necessary for the next appointments. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, and last and old new business is pay-as-you-throw update and overflow bag color discussion. So this is, folks, this is the kind of important stuff that comes before your select board.
Well, just trying to keep it a little light. I know it's been at least a couple of weeks since I talked to you guys about anything pay-as-you-throw related, so wanted to kind of run through this really quick. So I guess in terms of a general update, right now we've got contracts in place for the carts, for the bags. We've got our grant paperwork fully signed and ready to go. The last real piece we have remaining in terms of action from you guys is going to be eventually a policy amendment on our trash and recycling policies. We're going to do some cleanup on some things, but also address the amendment to the Harvey contract at the same time. So I'm expecting that to happen sometime in May, based on the timeline we have right now. But right now, what I need is some guidance on our bag color. So that is really the last piece that I've got to push over to the bag manufacturer. Just some samples of some of the artwork that we've got being suggested from them right now. We're working with them to see how these will print on the different bags, but this is what the bag itself will look like at this time. In terms of the artwork that's on the bag, there is a wrap that goes on the container, the rolls of bags themselves, so these are the different options. Oh, yeah, sir. These are some of the different options we've got. We are trying to incorporate our logo for the Waste Less Westford campaign, as well as the town seal. This QR code will come directly to the town's website. We'll be able to pass information on recycling, collection, anything like that. We are also looking at some options for doing QR codes on the carts themselves. And so we're working with both Harvey and the can manufacturer to see what that might look like. We'd like people, ultimately, we would like to end up having a much more automated system where people can report missed pickups off their phone, scan the serial number of the cart, automatically grab their address. So we're working through those things right now. I'm not sure that's going to make its way into this first rollout, but we'll give you some updates on that when we get a little further. So these are just different wraps that will appear on the rolls. The important thing we need to do right now is really get settled on bag colors. So we got, and this is the small bag, not the big bag. We're not doing the small bag. So I think there's really two considerations that we've got. One is going to be obviously visibility on these things. Two is, what do our neighbors have? So pretty much everybody around us has some form of a pay-as-you-throw, whether it's overflow, transfer station. We want to be careful to not be too close to anybody else, but it might be inevitable in a couple of cases. Looking at what we've got, we would definitely recommend staying away from the blues. Everybody seems to have that. We did like the orange just because of the visibility, but with Groton having that same thing on a curbside pickup, that may be a little bit problematic. Purple is right across our border as well. What we really don't have claimed by any towns right next to us is either gray or green. So this would be an example of the gray bag. And let's see, here's the orange bag. Waiting for that. Now the green bag. A green is going to be in a couple of different shades. It kind of depends on the run that they make, but there is a light green and a dark green. And Emily, for you, is a purple, but we're not recommending this just because it's right across the way.
Yes, we want them back. No free bags tonight.
Oh, good luck, because most of them don't have our logo.
So, Mike, do you have a recommendation? Is there something that
Honestly,
you'd like to put forward as a suggestion? Because I want to recognize the amazing work you're doing.
Well, I mean, this is really, I'm not allowed to pick colors in my household.
That's all the more reason you got to do it here.
Honestly, so
I guess that's.
Dan O'Donnell and I were talking about this earlier, and we did like the green.
Okay.
The green was what we thought made a lot of sense. The only conflict we may have there, and I'm not sure that this really applies, is a lot of the food waste programs have green bags, but we don't have that, and I seriously doubt if we had any municipal food waste program that we would be doing bags of food waste curbside. So not sure that's really going to be an issue. Nobody has it right next to us unless that changes, because there are towns that are, the few remaining are all moving to these types of programs. So they may grab that, but obviously if we get it first, it's us. So.
Well, any strong feelings from the group? I want to be on team Mike here.
I like green.
Ditto.
Okay.
Mike's done so much legwork on this. This is his legacy.
This will be his legacy.
Green bags.
Colors are green.
Thanks.
So I think by claim, I think we're with green. Are you okay with green?
Green's great.
Okay.
There are two shades though, which shade?
Yeah, and we don't know, I mean, it'd be somewhere in this. It just really kind of depends when they manufacture it. Sometimes it's a little darker, sometimes it's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Gotta stand up.
Okay, green.
And I did look and see if that sea foam is available, and I don't know that it is. So
Okay.
we can't really find that on their color chart. Thank you.
Ever forward. Thank you, Mike, for this and all you do.
That's pretty much, that's it. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer it, but other than that, we're just moving forward at lightning speed, trying to get this thing rolling out.
Any questions from the board?
Oh, any updates on the cards, Mike?
Yes, we're still targeting first week of collection would be July 6th.
Okay.
We were able to secure the lower price before all the plastics went up, and looking at rollout probably the second and third week of June, but we'll get that firmed up once we start working on the route maps and everything else.
And are we delivering those to households?
They will be delivered to households, yes.
Wow. Okay. Great.
And we plan to do a myriad of newsflash, social media posts, newsletters, and also an additional postcard to every household at the beginning of June.
Yes, it'd be right at the first part of June, and what we're waiting to find out is what our final bag vendor list will be. So those letters go out next week, where they'll reach out to all the bag vendor names that we gave them, and then we'll select whoever is interested in doing it. It'll be an honor to sell the bags.
Okay. Emily, I'm sorry we didn't pick purple, but you.
No, I'm thrilled you didn't pick purple,
Okay.
but thank you so much.
You have a different question, okay.
I do.
Go ahead.
So the cards won't be coded, the postcards, they'll just be able to go into the recycling, right? That you send out
The
to every
postcards.
household?
Yes,
Yeah.
the postcards will be recycled.
Okay.
But
And,
our hope is that you put them on your refrigerator, because they're going to
totally,
have a
yeah.
QR code and other information.
And what about the carts that we still own that we'd like to recycle?
We're working on that with Harvey right now, and also we'll be talking with the Recycling Commission and try to figure out a way that we can use them. I mean, the hope is that a lot of them simply remain in service in another way, that people turn them into recycling carts, they can come down to the clerk's office, get a sticker, but we'll roll out some information on that when we figure out what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think it's fair repeating, though, that they could be used when you have your overflow bags.
Absolutely.
So that your overflow
Yes.
bags are not tore apart by wild animals.
Yeah, absolutely, we definitely want to.
Recommend keeping them at least for a while, until you're in your new
But how
routine.
would they know that the bag was inside?
The animals?
No. If the green bag is inside a trash can.
They'll open it up. Anything that's not in the town cart, that is not recycling, they have to manually collect.
Elizabeth Sawyer, Holly Lane. Just an opportunity to remind people that the next 2 Saturdays are some of the town events that let you dip your toe into events that let you avoid a bag. So coming up Saturdays, Junk in the Trunk, which is a pop-up gifting opportunity. You could park at Stony Brook and just walk around, get eyes on it, and just see what it's like. It starts 10, ends at 11. And then after that is our Electronics and More and Zero Waste Day. So lots of opportunities to rehome stuff that's unwanted in ways that are going to have that item keep on in its current state, avoiding the injection of energy to recycle. It's the ideal.
Great.
Just one quick plug on top of that also. So we're now starting to work very closely with the Recycling Commission on making sure all of our communications are aligned. So you'll see a lot of that over the next several weeks as we really try to kind of cross-advertise each other's information. So.
Excellent. Okay, next up is minutes for approval. These are both for release, regular session. We have February 24th, 2026 and March 10th, 2026. Any questions or comments about the minutes? Okay, if so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up, board reports and updates.
Who's the next group that's coming before us?
I think we wanted to have the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee and also the 300th Anniversary Committee soon as well. Because they've been in place for about 6 months, we wanted to see where they're at and make sure that they're aligned with your goals as well.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or reports or updates? Okay. Kristen, take it away. It's town manager's report.
There's a lot here. Most of it is associated with town meeting business. But first, I'd like to request that the board appoint Mike Edwards as acting town manager from April 18th to April 24th, 2026, without appointing authority for new positions, as I will be away that week.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
The next, one grant to accept and one to submit. So first, to accept the fiscal year 26 firefighter safety grant, equipment grant in the amount of $18,533.95 as requested by the fire department, and then to authorize the town manager to execute an application for the Green Communities Competitive Grant Program in the amount of $125,000. This request would be to augment the Cameron Senior Center HVAC project that was approved at town meeting.
Any questions about these? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Then a series of purchase orders. So main technical resource for robotic total station survey equipment in the amount of $27,524.51 as requested by the engineering department. High sales for the fixed remote meter reading collector in the amount of $37,237 as requested by the water department. Global public safety for the purchase and installation of emergency lights and associated safety equipment in the amount of $18,412.49 as requested by the fire department. That's to fit out the new Tahoe. And then Motorola Solutions for emergency radios in the amount of $16,245.61 as requested by the fire department.
Any questions for those? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then rounding out our contracts, please bear with me. So the Reed Brook and Acton Road Culvert Replacement Project contract awarded to Fulsham Corporation in the amount of $1,395,396 as requested by the engineering department. Construction phase services contract with TEC Incorporated for the Acton Road Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $26,000 as requested by the engineering department. Construction phase services contract with Ty and Bond for the Reed Brook Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $28,000 as requested by the engineering department. Design services agreement with TEC Incorporated for the Old Homestead and Long Meadow Culvert Replacement Project in the amount of $320,000 as requested by the engineering department. Professional services contract with Nezra Engineering LLC for the design of the Frost Road and Bush tennis courts reconstruction project. I'll also just note for the public that that is also handicap accessibility for that. That was discussed at town meeting in the amount of $49,300 as requested by the Department of Public Works. Professional services contract with Weston and Sampson for the design of the Graniteville Ballfield Safety Improvement Project in the amount of $31,000 as requested by the Department of Public Works. The facilities management services at East Boston Camps contract with the Commonwealth Superior Property Management in the amount of $49,750 as requested by the Conservation Commission, which you heard about this evening. A licensing agreement with RAAM Mobile Veterinary Care for the operation of a mobile rabies vaccination clinic on April 25th as requested by the Health Department. And then finally, epidemiologist support services for the Northwest Public Health Coalition in the amount of $23,000 as requested by the Health Department.
Just since there was a public interest earlier in the meeting, the facilities management service agreement for East Boston Camps, it sounds like the scope of what is being expected there is governed both by the document that you uploaded and also the meeting that you've got scheduled to sort of set expectations with the provider.
Yes.
Any other questions for these? Yeah.
Just
to
Jim. You sure? Okay. So to piggyback on what Tom said, because I did look through the document, and so I think someone referenced it before. It didn't make any reference to them being on the property for specific hours or anything. So it sounds like that type of discussion is going to happen in the next few weeks, you said?
So it is all laid out within the invitation for bid. The timing is based upon the needs and primarily, it's not a 9 to 5 position. So, but we will be very clear with them, excuse me, when we have the kickoff of what the expectations are.
Okay, maybe we can have a report back for that for our next meeting.
I think when we talk about EBC next.
You want some water?
I have some water.
Or whenever that comes back around. Okay, great, thank you.
It sounds like it'll be documented in some form what the expectations are.
That's correct.
Okay,
got it.
Okay, any other questions for contracts? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any questions about correspondence?
I think we should read it tonight.
Ooh. Any questions about correspondence? If not, I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of correspondence.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Westford. Be safe. Enjoy spring. Finally got some nice weather out there.
Yeah.